Dubbed Lake Erie's perfect storm, the Black Friday 1916 storm will forever go down in infamy. The Black Friday storm was caused by a remnant of a hurricane from the Gulf of Mexico. This storm system merged with the high-pressure systems in the northern Great Lakes. When these two high-pressure systems moved into the area, it created chaos all throughout the Great Lakes. Lake Erie, in particular, because of her shallow depth, caused massive winds and over 75-mile-an-hour winds to occur on her. When the storm was finally finished, 4 vessels and over 49 people lost their lives on Lake Erie. The 4 ships that were claimed from Lake Erie's fury on the Black Friday storm of October 20th, 1916, were the James B. Colgate, the Marshall F. Butters, the D.L. Filer, and the Merida. On the James B. Colgate, out of the 26 crew members aboard her, only the captain, Captain Walter Grashaw, survived. The Marshall F. Butters, a wooden lumber-carrying ship, which was bound for Cleveland, entered Lake Erie from the Detroit River. She soon, though, was sunk. Thankfully, there were 2 nearby ships that did not sink in this terrible storm, and they rescued several of the men aboard the Butters. The D.L. Filer, a wooden schooner which was headed from Buffalo to Saugatuck, sank within the sight of the mouth of the Detroit River. Only the captain, John Madison, one of several men who clung to the ship's mast overnight, was eventually rescued. And finally, the steamer Merida, the 4th victim of the Black Friday storm of 1916, disappeared that night as well. This is her story. The Merida was built in 1893 in West Bay City, Michigan by the Wheeler, F.W. & Co. She had a length of 360 feet, a width of 45 feet, a depth of 20 feet, and she had a gross tonnage of 3,261 tons. She could carry a net tonnage of 2,609 tons, and her hull was made of steel. For propulsion on the Merida, she had a triple expansion steam engine with coal boilers. She was also built with 2 decks. The Merida was built to be used in the coal, ore, and grain trade across the Great Lakes. After going through several collisions, groundings, and different owners, finally the Merida was owned by the Valley Camp Steamship Company of Cleveland. Despite her rough history, the Merida proved seaworthy, until October 20th, 1916. Throughout her career on the Great Lakes, the Merida experienced great changes to her design. Again, her engines were located closer amidships, and this gave a smaller cargo hold between the stern cabins. This did create some problems for the Merida. The location for unloading damaged the propeller shaft, and the rigging for the mast and the cabins were also hampered by some unloading equipment aboard her. The Merida had an American crew aboard her, and she had 23 crew members aboard her. Details in the sinking of the Merida come from a surviving ship and its captain, Captain J.W. Parsons of the steamer Calcite. Captain Parsons had said that the Merida was rolling badly and shipping with massive waves over her stern. However, he said she was running ahead and did not show any sign of being in real distress at that time. Captain Parsons said that the seas at the time were about the worst I have ever encountered. I was going head into and shipping big ones over her bow. Nearly all our dishes were broken and the furniture was badly smashed. The Merida was making very bad weather of it, but she kept plugging ahead. We were kept busy watching our own boat. However, the Merida did not make any appeal for aid. Captain Jones evidently believed he would make Long Point. When Captain Parsons learned of the sinking of the James B. Colgate and the Merida, he made many expressions of genuine sorrow over the drowning of the crews. Again, this is probably the only clues we have into the sinking and disappearance of the Merida that night on October 20th. All 23 crew members of the Merida were found dead the next day, and they were floating in mid-lake. The bodies also washed ashore eventually. The bodies were identified by their life vests, and they bear the name of the Merida. What exactly occurred in the Merida's final moments that night on Lake Erie will probably forever remain a mystery, as there were no survivors to tell their story. However, we can say, though, with certainty, that these men probably fought for their lives and gave it their best. On October 24, 1916, a Coast Guard cutter, the Morel, discovered the mast of the sunken steamer Merida about 10 miles southeast of the Southeast Shoals lightship. It was later confirmed to be that of the Merida. As of September of 2023, the Merida sits upright at the bottom of Lake Erie. Her rudder is steered hard to port, and 2 of her 3 propeller blades and hub remain above the bottom of the lake bed. She sits now in around 60 to 80 feet of water. And the engine room appears to be covered entirely with silt. However, there are still some holds which are open. There's also the top of the boiler and engine, which are still visible and exposed. And that is the full story of the sinking of the Merida and her 23 crew members, which were lost. What a sad tragedy for those 23 crew members, and not one single survivor. I had to have imagined that perhaps these storm warnings, maybe they didn't seem as bad at the time, and why these vessels chose to continue to head out onto Lake Erie and well into the night when this was happening. Like I posted in the video earlier, I guess her last sighted seeing was around 5:55 a.m. I wonder if that was from Captain Parsons on the calcite steamer. We may not know, or perhaps you guys may know a bit more in detail about her, but perhaps she plunged right to the bottom, or maybe she was capsized and floated for a bit before sinking. We may not know. We may never know, I should say, as a mystery, but there weren't too many details that I could give this time around to this ship story. It was hard to come across, exact moment by moment details as to what happened to her, but I'm sure we can piece together this tragedy. It was 4 ships, around 49 sailors lost. I've come across other websites and other sources that say it may have been 58 people that were lost from this terrible Black Friday storm in 1916. But yeah, what a tragedy. I think it was 108 years ago that this happened, but I wanted to get this ship and her story out there to you guys and just bring more knowledge to these vessels and the souls that were lost on it. But with that being said, I thank you very much in joining me on today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and do please leave a like and comment down below if you have any other information, additional information, or anything I may have missed, or spelling or pronunciation corrections. I always welcome them. Please do leave them down below. But with that being said, God bless you guys. I thank you again for joining me on Songs of the Great Lakes, and I look forward to the next episode in the future to come. Until next time, see you all.